Bonjour les amis. This is Generator coming to you directly from the City of Light. I'm Jane Bertch, a Chicago native, Paris-based entrepreneur, author, and your partner in personal reinvention. I've spent the past 20 years living and working in Paris, and after leaving the corporate world and deciding to create something of my own, I've discovered both the beauty and the challenge of building a life shaped by curiosity, creativity, and a sprinkle of courage. These are the practices that lead to true transformation. So whether you're planting a seed in your jardin secret, your secret garden, or giving voice to your creativity for the very first time, let's step into your next chapter with intention. And of course, with a touch of Parisian charm. So as we say in French, on y va, let's go. Bonjour, friends. Welcome back to Generator. I have been thinking about you so much because so much has happened since we were last together, just us, just you and I. And I loved having Asri with me, and I hope you did too. But I love this space that you and I share. And I think there's always something magical that comes to me when I'm thinking about what I want to tell you. And some people ask, where do I get my ideas from? I've had a couple of those messages. So I'm just going to tell you now. I don't think in a linear fashion. I look at what comes to me and I look at what I'm inspired by and I act on it. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today. So it's a theme that fits. I want to talk about the importance and the power of being delusional. Stick with me on this. I've been reminded over and over and over again these past weeks. So it's a theme that's just sticking with me that I have to talk to you about. And it is about being delusional and why that's so important. And I want to remind you it's the most powerful thing you can be. It's suggesting that you have a crazy and beautiful dream or thought that's beyond just who you are right now. And it may even appear irrational, it may appear unrealistic. But I do believe if you can hold that idea in your head, I don't know what you want to call it, maybe it's the magic of the universe, and you're willing to pursue it, you'll hold it in your hands one day. And why I think this spirit is so important to being delusional, again, the biggest reminder we've recently had. We've seen the other side of the moon. We have seen this uncharted territory that we didn't even know what was there and how we would get there. And I think there was even this blip where we lost contact with Artemis, who was there. And we have now seen the other side of the moon. And you know what? I suspect the first time somebody said, you know what? Let's go see what the other side of the moon looks like. I don't think anyone in that room said, you know what? Okay, that's great. Let's do it. Build a ship. We'll fly on out. Somebody thought, that's a crazy idea. That's really very hard. That's unrealistic. We don't have the technology for it. We've never been that far. We don't even know what's back there. Somebody thought it was delusional, and yet we did it. And imagine all those other things that people thought were delusional, yet it was done. Maybe somebody thought it was delusional to have a computer in your hands, a handheld computer. Well, that's what our phones are right now. Maybe somebody thought it would be delusional to build this incredibly tall, heavy structure in the center of Paris called the Eiffel Tower. Well, Gustave Eiffel did it. People not only thought that was delusional, they rebelled. They didn't want it. Somebody maybe thought a pyramid in the center of the Louvre, this beautiful modern structure in the center of one of our oldest buildings, once the House of the Kings. Somebody thought that was delusional. They thought that was ridiculous. And here it is, and we love it. Somebody thought that Marie Curie, here in Paris, a foreigner, a woman, saying that she was going to invent cures. Do we think people said, well, you know what? Yeah, I believe in you. Go ahead. You're the person to do it. Get to work. Absolutely not. All of these wonderful things we have and will have in the future are because somebody dared to be delusional. Somebody dared to say, you know what? We're going to do the unimaginable. And how beautiful is that? And this is how innovation happens, isn't it? This is how we innovate, how we create. We push the boundaries of what's possible, whether it be a 2-hour marathon. 50 years ago, people didn't think that was possible, to surgery that is keyhole. I mean, it goes on and on and on. So I want, as we get into this episode today, to remind ourselves everything seems impossible until it's done. But if you're not willing to have those delusional, crazy dreams, like let's have light bulbs, or let's have an Eiffel Tower, or let's build churches 500 years ago and we have no scaffolding. I mean, unless you're willing to have those delusional dreams, you're not going to be able to innovate in your life. But that's okay because I think we can all get there. I think we can absolutely get there if we pause and we take a look at ourselves. So from here on, I'm going to use the word Delulu. I don't know where I saw that, but I thought it was sweet. And maybe there's a softness in that word Delulu that makes it more palatable. But I want to challenge you today, my friends, to be Delulu. And in sharing this with you and me making it acceptable for you to be Delulu, I'm going to do the same. So I'll tell you what, wherever you are, why don't we pause for a second? Push pause. I want you to get a piece of paper and a pencil and come on back. Okay. If you've been with me in any capacity, you've probably seen me do this exercise in some shape or form because I think no matter how you choose to approach it, you should do it in a way that feels comfortable and authentic to you and in a way where you can explore your inner world. And the reason this is so important and why I want to share it with you now is I just wrapped up one of my retreats where we did this exercise. And it's really quite simple. I want you to take the piece of paper and just draw a line down the middle. I prefer it horizontal, but however you want to do it, draw a line down the middle. On the left-hand side, I want you to write all the fabulous things you have done. I want you to write everything that you've accomplished. And I want you to go way back to the smallest of things. It could be you did so well in class that you got to do the announcement on the school intercom. I want you to write down all of the wonderful things that you've accomplished up to now. And I hope you fill that page with things that just look nonsense. But at the time, they meant a lot. And the reason I want you to do this is because this, if you remember, is like your personal harvest. And yes, maybe you don't have to go that far back every year, but you should, I think, look quarterly at what have I done? What are the things that I set out to do that I accomplished? What are the things that I accomplished that I hadn't even realized I was going to tackle? It's such a wonderful personal exercise to go down. So now that you've done that, we're going to go on over to the right side. And on the right side, I want you to list out every delusional dream and idea you have. Every single one of them. I want you to at least have more than 3, but I want you to think back to all of those crazy ideas and wishes and hopes that you had that maybe are considered delusional. You're 80 years old and you want to be a professional tap dancer. Maybe somebody will consider that delusional. I don't know. Whatever you want to put on that page, I want you to fill it up. Now, here's the kicker. In this exercise, I have found it's never easy for people. And I want you to sit and reflect on this. I find that they have a really tough time doing the first half of the page to remind themselves of how fabulous they are. And that's so important. All of that are your artifacts to remind you of what a brilliant and beautiful person you are. And the beauty about that side of the page, nobody on earth has that. That's you. That is your magic. That's 100% you. That's something to be proud of. So if you're struggling to fill that out, have that be your ongoing work. If you can't fill that out, you've lost touch with how fabulous you are. And you know what can be on there? What can be on there is that you stop to offer a kind word to somebody and you change their day. Or you got out of the bed on that morning when it felt really dark and lonely, but you got out. It doesn't have to be these big monumental things. I'd love you to have some great things. Maybe you've run marathons. Maybe you've started companies. Maybe you've raised a family. Maybe you've been a community pillar. There's so many things that should be on that left-hand side of the sheet. And on the right hand, this isn't easy either. And I recently have faced this, not just in some of my retreats, plural, but every time I do this exercise. And if you cannot figure out what to put on the right hand side of that page, in my mind, we have one or two things happening. The first one is you've been and done and seen everything. You've climbed every mountain. You've had every success you ever wanted. And I hope you are now on your last days in this world thinking, I did it all. I did everything that I wanted to do. I explored life to its fullest. So if that's you, bravo. I hope you don't have many years still left on the earth, because if you've already done everything, what a boring existence you're going to have. Well, I'm joking, but that's one thing that could be happening. Okay, fair enough. The other thing that could be happening is you've lost touch with yourself. And I'm just going to pause for a second for you to think about that. You've lost touch with the little bit of magic that's in you. You've become so entrenched in the day to day that you forgot to allow yourself to dream. And that's heavy. And that's when you start to feel multidimensional and stuck and wonder what's next for you. But you're not the only one. I see this absolutely all the time. And I think there are ways to get that back. And I'd love for you to get that back. What I would encourage you to look at is, are you still being curious? Are you still using your spare time to figure out the things that you don't even know you could love? Are you challenging yourself to have that creative and curious spirit that keeps you discovering all of these wonderful things that you don't even know existed, that help to fuel the dreams that can go on that right hand side of the page? That's something that each of us can do every day in our lives. We don't have to come to Paris to be curious. We don't have to come to Paris to challenge ourselves to be creative. And I recently had one of the people I admire, who is a creative artist, say, being creative is a pursuit. Did you hear that? Being creative is something we can all pursue. It's a practice. It's not always something that you're just given. You have to seek out being creative. But when you're creative and you're curious and you discover new things and meet new people and challenge your ideas and get out of this little bubble you have, that's when you start to get these crazy, beautiful Delulu ideas that I hope you do. And if I can share a secret with you, it's those crazy Delulu ideas that fuel me. They keep me imagining. They keep me pursuing businesses. They keep me curious every day. So I really, really, really want you to think about that. And I hope you fill up that right-hand side of the page. And over time, what I'd love you to do is look at the left, everything you've been and who you are and your values and all the fabulous things you've done. And look at the right, all of these crazy, unimaginable ideas, things that you could pursue. And see if you can create a liaison between the two. I bet you can. I bet you'll find something in your past that somehow is linked to this beautiful, crazy idea you have. So I'm going to remind you, we need to continue to experiment. And there's a beautiful book about that. called tiny experiments. We need to continue to be curious. We need to continue to move without seeking permission. And we need to continue to find those communities and the people who are just as crazy Delulu as we are. I think about all the things we talked about before, the light bulb, the Eiffel Tower, these beautiful churches that were built in a way that is just unimaginable. NASA, flying to the backside of the moon. Somebody had the idea, okay? But then they had a community behind them that believed in that crazy idea as much as they did and believed in them. So once they got past that initial, you know what, I really believe in this. I think this could happen. Get yourself the community that will help you nourish and grow it. And we've heard that before. I'm just giving it to you in a different way. We've heard it before when we've talked about the jardin secret and the importance that community is your soil. That's what nurtures you. That's what helps to keep you grounded and solid and fed. And it's very important that you think about your community groups, those groups where you can share those Delulu ideas, where you can even riff on them and imagine them even bigger. Get yourself the right community. So, my friends, that's what I wanted to talk about with you today. That's what I wanted to share. As crazy as it sounds, I hope you continue to come up with those beautiful Delulu ideas, because they're just proof of all the magic that lies in you. So, until next time, mes amis, a bientôt. Before we go any further, if what I've been talking about today resonates with you, I want you to know there's a space for you that I've created. Several times a year, I gather a small group of women in Paris for what I call les saisons, the seasons. These are my retreats. They are very tiny, very intimate. Each one is designed around the time of year. So not just the season we're in physically, but hopefully the season we're in our internal seasons. And it's just a wonderful time to return to ourselves. In spring, we talk about planting. In September, it's the rentrée season, which is a beautiful time in Paris. And in the fall, it's the harvest, la vendange, because how can we not talk about wine and all those wonderful messages? So these are not spa weekends, they're not shopping, they're not tourist trips. These are 3 days in one of the most transformative cities in the world, designed to help you pause and realign and start to really think and step into what's next for you. And the women who come, they're curious, they're brave, they're open-hearted, they're just phenomenal. They're hopeful, they're community-based. And if that sounds like you, I'd love to have you join. So take a look at my website. I'm constantly updating different dates for Les Saisons retreats. And I'd love to have you here. You can find them all at janebertch.com/retreats.